Alright, so I guess you're wondering what the hell's going on. Suddenly the video starts and everything's going fast forward and who knows what's going on. So I essentially sped up the process of adding hit sparks. I got the hit sparks from, what's it called again? Darkstalkers 3. And it's just the basic hit stuff, like nothing crazy. So you have the light, heavy, very hard. Darkstalkers is light, medium, heavy, but I'm using light, heavy, and very hard, or very heavy. Then you have a special light, special heavy, guard, dust, because I'll figure out something for that. You have the super sparks, and then like a front and a back wave effect, which is pretty cool. I then put the animations in place, as you can see here. I think 2 ticks is a good time frame for this, but you're free to experiment whatever you like. And now I have to add it into the character itself. But before I continue, okay. Before I continue, I had to check something quickly, make sure I was recording my audio. Anyways, so yeah, so where this is the standing light punch, we're gonna go to spark. Now if we use our own spark, we have to use S. And then whatever the spark number is, our spark number is 8,000. That's the number I like to use personally. That's just me. And that is for the light hit spark, the jabs. Let's just test it quickly. There you go, jabs. Ignore Kung Fu Man jumping like a madman. My PS4 controller is connected to the computer and it does that for some reason. So now I'm just going to copy S8000 to my light attacks. I'm doing standing strong punch, so instead of 1 I'm going to use S8001. I like to keep my numbers close because then it's easy for me to remember and it's easy if I need to find something. So regular light attacks are 8,000. Heavy attacks are 8001. Say if I have a physical super attack, I can use either heavy, I can use 8002 or I can use one of the other bluer hit sparks. So let's go over this quickly. Add the hit sparks into all of his moves, which is very easy once you have all the coding done. And after this, I'm going to do a quick little test. Make sure everything is in proper placement. By the way, if you're wondering how I'm making the number appear, Control on the keyboard, CTRL, plus the key V, that's paste. And Control C is to copy. Control X is to cut. This is 8,000. Okay. All right. So now let's test it quickly. I want to disconnect the PS4 controller so it doesn't make him jump. Oh, almost lost the controller. Alright, let's see. So, quick jab, heavy punch, light kick, heavy kick. Good, looking good so far. Light, heavy, light, heavy. Very nice. Light, heavy, light, heavy. Wonderful. Very good. So that takes care of that. So now for the actual main course of this episode, we're going to focus on special attacks. And depending on how much time it takes, we're going to go on to super attacks. So luckily for me, he's a fairly easy character. A very interesting moveset too. Very odd animations. Like, see, there's this. I don't know. This looks like the attack, but it's like partially the attack. This looks like the attack as well, but he kind of slides across like this. It's weird. And then the animation spark lightning stuff doesn't help me either. But by the way, the electric sparks, this is for the super version of the attack, which I must add, I could not figure out for the life of me how to use in game, the actual game. So I'm gonna wing it on this one. But basically, if you recall in the earlier video, group 1000 is where I begin my special attacks, and luckily all of his stuff is already, he has a few moves, and I numbered everything nice and neat for myself. So I'm going to start with the command file. Now I don't have any commands for him other than the Kung Fu Man stuff, which has to go away. But for now, I'll make a command, special motions. I'm going to copy the double tap motion, paste it here, and change it to my needs. So I forgot what his move is called, but let's go with quarter circle forward. Punch. Actually, no. He'll have two versions of this. So let's quarter circle forward. AB X. My keys are backwards. I like to keep my punches at the bottom, my kicks at the top. Other people, it'll be the other way around. So for some people, it may be A instead. But I like to use X as my punch, and that's how I play. So quarter circle forward X, and this command will be tilde, which is that squiggly line. It's next to the 1 key on the keyboard. Down, forward, X. And the time for this one, I'll give it 12 ticks. That's more than enough, I think. Okay, so that's the regular energy blast. Quarter circle forward Y. This would be A and B if your controls are opposite. Mine's are opposite, so my controls are actually wrong, but use whatever is your punch buttons. I'm gonna copy and paste it. I'm gonna quarter circle back. A and B, these are my kicks, and I have to change this. Down, back, down, back, A, B. He has another interesting attack, which I thought was strange, the command, but it's basically a forward command. So this would be forward X, which is literally forward and then forward X, like that. It's weird. And make the forward Y as well. Okay, so now we have the Hadouken type of move. The I keep saying Hadouken only because I feel, at least for my generation of fighting fanatics, that Hadouken is the general term we use for any kind of projectile that comes out of your palms going towards somebody. But I mean, it's essentially an energy wave that comes out of your hand. I'm not sure what term anyone else would use, honestly, but that's just what I think. The down back kick is literally any kind of flip kick, hurricane kick, axe kick, any kind of kick that usually goes up in the air and over. And the forward attacks, it's kind of strange because not many games use forward attacks anymore, at least. Because when you press forward, you ideally start running. So it's kind of weird to have an attack like that. Luckily, he doesn't run forward. So I actually have to remove that from him. So I want to disable the running forward. I'll show you how. By default, the characters run forward. That's just what they do. If you want to disable them from running forward, you have to make state 100, which is what the running is. And if you want to see what a state is, by the way, or what state the character is in at any times, pressing Control D on the keyboard brings up debug. And if you look here, state 0. If I walk forward, state 20. I crouch, state 10 and 11 quickly. Jump, 40, 50, 52. And now if I run forward, state 100. He doesn't have an animation, that's why it doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I want to make state 100. I want to name this run canceller? Disabler. Yeah, run disabler. Okay. Animation. If I remove it, it's not going to play any animation. I don't need a Velset or control. I don't need a hit by because of what this is. And then I'm going to use a change state. Should I use a null? Let's see. I'm going to use a null. And just make it a 1. I think this should work to disable run, but let's find out. Yeah, see, as fast as I'm pressing it, he is not entering state 100. So I just disabled run. Oh my goodness. People's is texting to me. Alright, so that's how you disable run. This works for crouching, jumping, pretty much any kind of hard-coded thing, but it's a little trickier depending on the scenario. Alright, so that's that. Okay, so now, how do we make a special state? It's super simple. I'm going to take the strong punch because it has the less amount of codes, copy it because why not, and I'm going to paste it over there. I'm going to name this quarter circle forward X. Change the state depth to 1000. Power add, let's put 60, just a random number. Juggle 3. Nothing genius or sciencey here. Animation will be 1000. Play sound, we'll get to that later on. Okay. Change everything to match accordingly. Okay, so now I made this state. I did this in the wrong order, but by the way. So now I made the command. Now I have to go down here and redirect the command. So the ladder, as I like to call it, for the command file is whatever's on top has highest priority over everything on the bottom. You could think of it as a totem pole, if you know what that is. So all of the basic attacks, these are here. If I were to put my special attack for the energy beam, which is here, I actually think it's called Hurricane, but I'm gonna put quarter circle forward X here. Here, 1000. Command is quarter circle forward X. I don't need to not hold down because I'm holding down to do the attack since I'm crouching to go into it. State type ultra. Do we need type S? Yeah. No, actually no. You know, I'll make it easier to work everybody by putting not type A, meaning you can do this attack if you're crouching, or you can do this attack if you're standing, which is good because at the same time you're limiting it, but you don't want them to do it in the air because then they'll be floating in the air and everything. And trigger 2 here is a combo thing, so I'm not gonna do anything about that. So now I made the attack and I put it in the command file, but here's the kicker. If it's below everything on the totem pole, it's not gonna happen because your light punch has higher priority. So you need to take that code and put it at the top of the totem pole. Blah 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 blah. Ignore the combo condition is something else I explain way after. And I will use this divider because I like this divider to separate there. Okay, so now my special move is here and my basic moves are down here. So now my special move has higher command priority than my basic move. So if I do down forward X, he does the animation as he is supposed to. And this is good because this is what you want. So now he does the thing, but he doesn't shoot the thing. So we have to make him shoot the thing. There are many ways to do it. Well, there's actually like 2-3 ways to do this. Many ways to make projectiles. You can use a projectile code, which is on the right side here, which will do your basic projectile. However, if you look at this, it's very cumbersome because it has a lot of parts to it. Now, what you need to do is understand how a projectile works. A projectile is a hit def with extra codes to make it a projectile. So, as you see here, type projectile. Trigger is the same. All these project things are related to the projectile code. You control the velocity, the remove velocity, acceleration, make it start slow, go faster. You can make it go slower. You know how many hits is this single projectile. I don't know what project miss does, honestly. Priority of it, the sprite priority, edge bound, make it touch this edge of the wall, it'll disappear. Offset is similar to position of the projectile. Post type player 1, back, front, left, right. It's a little confusing, but P1 is what you want. If you want to give it a shadow, if you want to make it move during super or pauses, and then you have after image codes, which are a little janky. I wouldn't recommend them because you don't get the result you kind of want. And then you got basic hit def stuff afterwards. And oh, sorry, wrong code. Basic hit def stuff, and this is all basic hit def right here. but it's basic hit def and then some, because you have all of these other codes here. Well, not this. The corner push codes, which are important for projectiles. Then you have air guard, max distance, snap. You don't want to use snap. More sprite priority, facing, fall, XY fall, like down. This is a lot of stuff you don't need. So I personally don't recommend using a projectile code unless you are doing something a little different. So what I recommend using is a helper code, because a helper code works as its own object. You have full control over it. You can scale it, you can rotate it, you can do all kinds of crazy nonsense to it. So I think I may dedicate a video just doing nonsense with this. I'll use a helper code in the right side here. Helper. The trigger is going to be animation element 5. That's when it's going to fire off. Helper type is normal. You can remove this line. Mugen disregards it anyways nowadays. So that's that. Name is going to be projectile. ID, I like to keep the ID of the projectile the same as the state of the player, or the state it's going to be. In this case, let's go with 1010. And the projectile state number is going to be 1010. So I'm going to make another state for the helper. So this is the helper summoning code essentially. Using the same technique I used earlier, zooming in, out. This is position 65, negative 63. So negative 63. I always forget the number first. That's the position. It's position to me. Facing 1, yes. Key control. I don't need key control at all. Own pal. So this means that the helper is going to have its own palette. So if, for instance, you catch fire, your helper, if this was set to 0, your helper would catch fire. For some reason, you're here, your projectile's a yard away, and you're on fire, and it's on fire, and it's completely unexplainable. So having it set to its own palette, you'll catch fire, but the projectile's its own being, minding its own business. Super move time, pause move time 0, 0. If you want, you can use scaling here as well. These you don't need if it's a projectile per se. Same with these, or height, or any of this stuff. So we'll remove all of this. So this is your basic helper code right here. This is all you need to make a helper. Well, to summon a helper. So now, because I don't have state 10,010, I have to make a helper. So I'm literally going to copy the entire thing and paste it. Change the number, leave the name, and just put in parentheses helper. Change this. Good. Let me look for my animation. Perfect. It's 1010. I knew I was going to do this before I knew I was going to do this. So 1010. Power add no. Juggle no. Control no. Vel set. So this is going to move forward. So this is the weak version. So I'm going to go with, say, 4. Random time. Play sound. I'm not going to play a sound. Change this. Okay. So you don't want to have a helper in a helper, because it will summon a helper, but you don't need that because it'll just cause all kinds of strange chaos. Alright, so then I have the state there for the helper. Now I need to trigger a hit for the helper, and the hit splash is 10,011. So now we're going to use a change state code. This also works with a hit override code, which we'll be using, but so you need multiple codes to make this work completely and properly. Now I'll mention this now. I have a tendency to always mess this up. So if you see a scene of this next thing suddenly fast forward, that's because I was fumbling and I couldn't figure it out, and then I fast forward to skip past all the fumbling, and then you can suddenly see the answer. But to make this work properly, your helper projectile needs to have multiple if codes in it. So it's if it hits the wall, if it hits the player, if it hits another projectile, if it passes the wall, what's going to happen to it? You have to think of all these things. And it sounds like a lot, but it's really not a lot. So let's start with if it hits. Then this is move hit equals 1. And it's going to change to another state, which would be 1011. and this one is going to ignore the hit pause. The reason why is because the helper is going to use a hit def, and the hit def has a pause time code which will pause the hit def and then it'll pause the helper and then change from helper to splash. You don't want that. You want the helper to hit and splash simultaneously, or at least, you know, right after the other. So that's that. So that's if his move hits. Now the other thing is trigger 2 equals move guarded. You know what, actually I don't even need to do this. I could just use move contact. This works for basically hit and guard. So that's that. Okay, now I need a hit def for this splash effect. I'm gonna copy the light punch hit def and paste it here. So this way now we can attack. Remove this. Now this is not a normal attack anymore. This is now a normal projectile. That's actually a super projectile, I think. Yeah, it's a standing super projectile. Okay. All of this stays the same. Nothing changes. I mean, you should change it, but I'm not because I'm lazy. As for the hit spark, there we go. 8005. So 8005 is the hit spark. Now this way, so it's gonna shoot out his hand, go forward. When it makes contact with the hit def, it's gonna make contact and it's gonna change to 10,011. Now I don't have a 10,011, but now I do. Splash. Okay, this will be 10,011. Animation will be 10,011. Velocity, it will have none. Physics will be none. Type will be I for idle, and we can remove that. Remove that. Okay. So now that the helper has hit, it's splashing, and now it has to destroy itself. So use a destroy self code. Always make your numbers match accordingly. And for this, I use a not anim time, which means that when the animation's over, it'll kill itself. This way, it's guaranteed that the helper will kill itself. Because if a helper lingers, it could lag Mugen. It could cause other helpers to not spawn. Oh, there it goes. Splash. Okay, so it did work. So here's what went wrong. One, I'm using a type S. This is not a S-type move. This is an air type move because the projectile is in the air. The other is physics. This is not a stand move. This is an air move. However, for projectiles, you don't use that. You use an N for no physics, which gives this full control of the speed. And the other thing was the spark X and Y. So spark X and Y is relative to the where the player is like standing and attacking. However, if you're a projectile, and this is why I strongly recommend putting your projectiles like this on the axis, 0 is your axis for this. So this way, well, you can use -10, 0, but this way your sparks will always align properly. I'm gonna try it again. Yep. If you notice, it hits him, but it still lingers for a bit. Then it splashes. And that's because of this. I could put this to 0, or I could put the ignore hit pause equals 1 code here as well. Either one works, but you know, use whatever you think is best. That's still doing it. So you know what? I guess it doesn't work. Alright, let's put that to 0 then. And this should definitely fix it. Unless the animation I have for it is slowed down. No, that's right. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, that's much better. Anyways, it hits there, turns to the splash right away. So perfect. So now here's the interesting thing. You have the hit spark and then you have the splash as well. So it's like, which one do you use? Use them both. Use whatever you think is best. Now one thing I noticed, the since the hit spark hits here, suddenly the projectiles from here jumps back to here. So I'm just gonna move all this stuff forward like 20 pixels. It may seem like much, but it may overall look better, maybe. Yeah, I think it looks better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Anyways, that's a little too slow. It looks great though. I mean, it's spawning where it's supposed to spawn. However, it's not spawning on top of him, and that's because the player character has a sprite priority of 2, whereas the helper has a sprite priority of 2. So I'm just gonna jack this up to 4, so it's above. I'm also gonna jack up the speed to 6. So there we go. We got this first special done. Now, easiest thing to do: copy, and yeah, I'll copy the state, and I'll copy the helper, and I'll paste it below. And now I'm going to renumber them. So this will be Y. This will be Y helper. So now, number-wise, I'm still using the same animation here, but my projectile is going to be different. I'm going to use 15 instead. It's going to be 15. And this is the same, it's just going to be faster. Now, there is a simpler way of doing this in like a single state. I don't know that way, but I'll be honest with you. I think it's better this way because then you have more control over it, so to speak. And I misnumbered this, but I'm going to fix that right now. Okay. So now we're going to test the heavy you know what? I didn't do the command. Copy, paste. This is for the Y, this is for the Y, this is a Y, and this is a 15. Okay. Is it light? Is it heavy? Up. Light, heavy, light, heavy, light. If he loads, now it's in front of his hand. Heavy, light, heavy. Now that's faster than I thought it was going to be, honestly speaking. So 10 is a bleh number. Let's move this to 7, and let's move this one to 5, I guess. Yeah, 5 maybe. Yeah, that seems better. I'm going to change up something in my Mugen here. Okay, so now I'm going to fight myself. Pallets are bad. Okay, so now what happens if the projectile was to get punched? Oh, clones. That's not good. Well, what happens if the projectile hits a projectile? Oh, more clones. That's not good. So here's the tricky part, which I may fast forward through depending on how well this goes. Your helper. You do not want it to be hit by certain things, so you're going to use a not hit by code. And what I don't want it to be hit by is, hold on, not time, and the time is going to be ridiculously high. And that's that. So you don't want it to be hit by standing, crouching, or air, normal, super, hyper attacks, or normal, super, or throws. So we'll remove the projectile stuff there. Okay. And what you want it to get hit by will be hit override. You're not using a hit by code, you're using a hit override code. And that will give you standing, crouch, air. Oh, whoops, missed one. Okay. There, and this will be not time as well. I think my triggers is what's usually wrong with this. State is going to go to 1011. Time is going to be the same thing. I could get this horribly wrong when I try it, or I can get it horribly right. Let's find out. So now, if I try to punch it, it's not going to work. Nope, too late. Yep, not working. But if I were to throw another projectile at it, it should, nope, pass through each other. Damn it, this is what I hate the most. Alright, fast forward section, beginning now. So I found it out. I always struggle with this. I don't know why. I never make notes of this. But so you want it to only hit the other projectile, not a player, and blow up. So this is how it's supposed to work. You fire it, and if you try to punch it, you don't punch it. Obviously, it will kill you. But if you get another one fired at it, it will make contact and splash, canceling out. That's what you want. And it'll work normally, of course. So to do that, we need a hit override code, which will override your basic 5000s. This works in the player too, but do not use it on the player. It causes craziness. So hit override. The trigger is going to be not time, or time equals 0, either or. Your attributes. So you're going to hit override if you're a standing, crouch, or air, all projectile, all attack, all projectile, all throws, which is the same as saying NA, NS, NP. What's it called? NP, SP, HP, NT, ST, HT. Basically, instead of having the full draw, I think you could just put A, AA, AP, AT for all attack, all projectile, all throws. So anything that touches this will make it go into the splash state. Slot equals 0. I always leave it at 0. State number for the splash state, and how long this will last. This will last a long time. And then you don't want the helper to get hit by anything else except another helper. So what you do is use a not hit by code, with the trigger 1 being not time, and the value being you remove the standing, crouch, and air. I don't know why this works the way it does, at least for me. You remove that, you just put all attacks and all throws. You don't put all projectiles. If you put all projectiles, they're going to pass right through each other and not hurt anything. And then time is the same, that to that. So that is your basic projectile. So now I'm going to copy this and paste this here in the helper state. Okay, so now I'm just going to do a quick test on both of them. Yeah. Okay, the heavy ones, okay. Oh, good. Let's do a heavy and a slow one. Perfect. Can I hit it? Nope, I cannot hit it. So there you go, you just have the perfect projectile. All that's missing is effects, but moving on. So that's one thing. So now our next projectile is this overhead kick. This move looks weird because it is weird. This move is very weird. Yeah. Okay, so this is gonna be quarter circle back A. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it. For special moves that don't have the same button, this is X and Y, this is gonna be A and B. It's okay, it doesn't matter the order you have them in, as long as they're above the basic commands. A, B, and this will be 200 and 215, just to keep up consistency's sake. This, I'm actually gonna put this here just for consistency's sake again. Okay, now copy pasta. I'm literally copying this state. I could use any other state, but I chose this one. No, nothing in particular. A, this will be 1200, 1200. Remove the helper. Okay, so now I got the A move done. Okay, I never quarter circle. Shame on me. Quarter circle back. There we go. Okay, so now Hadouken. Good. Okay, so this works. Okay, but it doesn't work properly. So now what we have to do is actually code it. So this is a this is going to be coded as an anti-air. Anti-air moves are moves that's usually start on the ground and go up, or you're on the ground and you're attacking up. Actually, I don't even think this is an anti-air, but you know what? The way he kicks, it looks like an anti-air, but also looks like an overhead. So he has, let me see, let me hit that. Yeah, he has 1, 2. So this is your anti-air, and this is your overhead. All right, so, sorry, dying slowly. So you start here. So nothing happens, then boom, he's in the air. So that's what we're gonna do. So physics is gonna be N, because I want to have complete control. Move type is going to be A, and type is going to be A. So now having type as A is very important, because your character is not doing a ground move. Your character is actually doing an air move. Yes, they're starting on the ground, but in the end they're going to be in the air to some degree. And it's very important you put that as A, because if you don't, they're going to end up standing in the air and walking in the air, and you don't want that. So make sure you put your type as an A. So this way, if they're hit while in the air, they'll fall down like they're supposed to. I don't want control. Val said 0. I mean, yeah, 0, 0. Play sound, we'll get back to this way at the end of the tutorial. So now we're doing this. So he is going to jump into the air at frame 2, 3, 4, and frame 5 he's coming back down. So I'm starting with vel set 0, 0, because this way, after you do your command, they could slide around if you don't have this here. It's very important to have that there. Now go to vel set. You're gonna go to X value is gonna be 3, Y value is gonna be, let's go with 3 for now. The trigger is gonna be animation element equals 2. So now he's going up in the air, and he has to come back down. When I was a rookie, I used to use vel sets to bring them back down, and that's not the right way to do it. The correct way is with a gravity code. I think gravity looks the most natural. I'm sure there's many other ways, but to me gravity works best. Use it at like the highest point of your attack, so you come back naturally. So this is the highest point of the attack. This is 14 ticks, and then this. So we'll try time greater than equal to 14. Gravity is only effective for ticks, 1 tick. If you use animation element code, it'll not work. You need to use a time code or something that has a consistent value that's changing. If it's stationary, like an animation element code, it'll not work. So just to test this, he's gonna go up to the air, fall down, and go into the ground. Yep, as expected. The reason why is because when you have no physics, you have nothing telling the game that, hey, where's the ground? I'm just gonna fall. So you need to do that. So we'll use a change state here, which I'm gonna change all the numbers up right now. Okay, and instead of animation time, we're gonna use a position code for when the player is on the floor. So the floor is always positioned y equals 0. So we use pose y equals 0, ampersand, ampersand, and vel y greater than 0. Because remember, your downwards values is positive. Your upward values are negative. So you always want to have a greater than y value for this. And then I think state 52 is the land state. I don't want to give control back. The jump land will give control back. So this should make him hop forward and kick. Or not. What did I miss here? Oh, this one equals greater than. Another thing with this is sometimes they end up in the floor. Luckily, he actually hasn't ended up in the floor. But if he does, if you have a custom land state, then you would definitely need to have another state and use a pose set code. This one here. Pose set code with a y value of 0 and a trigger of 1. Like if you're making a custom jump land or attack land state, always have this, because vel set's not going to stop the character from going to the floor completely. It'll stop him a bit, but it won't stop him enough. They'll actually sink into the ground a bit. Okay. Yeah, this is actually how this move looks. It's weird. Yeah, it's actually more of this. Yeah, I don't know what happened here, honestly. Alright, so now I'm going to match up the effect to it. So now This is 8 ticks, and this is 6 ticks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are they both 8? No, it's 6. Okay, I don't know why I have that for so many. But that's what it looks like when it plays. It's seizure-rific. Okay, so now we're going to add the effect to his kick, because it looks really, really bland. Otherwise, I think at least... Yeah, it looks really bland. It's actually, it goes up a little too high. This move is a very weird move for, like... I can't even explain, like, what this move is. It's just a weird kind of move. So I want him to move forward faster, but I don't want him to move too fast forward. Ugh. So I'm going to increase his forward momentum, but I'm going to slow down his overall forward momentum using a vel mul code. Time greater than 14. Similar to gravity, vel mul lets you manipulate the velocity of whatever value, x or y. So 8. This will make him go forward fast and then slow down and stop. See? Forward fast and then stop. See, now because that's moving faster, my animation has to be faster. So back down to 6 ticks. Okay, let's try this again. I know this is longer than necessary, but it's just, yeah. And if you look at this little thing at the bottom, you can see the range goes up like this, then down. Sometimes using 0.9 for the vel mul works better. It seems like a very minute number, but it actually makes a difference in the overall look. Yeah, see? 0.9 looks so much better than 0.8. More natural. Alright, so this is a little doop doop. Okay, so now we're gonna add the explode, which is the graphical enter something 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 something. So now I'm going to explode. More fancy codes here. Trigger 1 is going to be when the kick starts, which is animation element 3. Animation is going to be 1210. Okay, ID will be the same. Keep it the same because I have my effect positioned on the character like this. I don't have to mess with the position or the pose type. It's gonna fit perfectly. If you do, just change it to whatever you think matches. Bind time -1. I want this to stay on him at all times. If I don't have a bind time, the effect will display, but it won't be on his body. It'll just stay in the air. I don't want to mess with velocities. I don't need random. Remove time. Remove time equals. So remove time, if put as a positive number, it'll last for that long. It'll last for 10 ticks, then disappear, 20 ticks, then disappear, 56 ticks, then disappear. Remove time equals -1, it never disappears. Remove time equals -2, it will disappear when it finishes playing the animation. I always recommend -2 because then you'll get the animation to play out once and that's it. Pause move time is 0, so super move time is also 0. It isn't there, but I added it. Scale is going to stay the same. Sprite priority, it's an outline of him, but I'm going to put 3. On top, I never use because it puts the XPlot on top of everything. That includes the stage effects. You kind of don't want that depending on what you're doing. Shadow, I don't think it needs an effect. Own pal, yes. Remove on get hit, yes. I hit the wrong key on the keyboard there. Okay. And then the other thing which I just removed, ignore hit pause. Normally I recommend 1 for everything else, but for exploits in particular, effects when you're attacking, 0. No. This way, as you are hitting the person with the attack, you're paused, the exploit is paused, and then it plays back. And this way it looks nicer. Yeah, see, it's so fast. Yeah, it's super fast. But I mean, that's just how the move is. It's a very odd move, like in the actual game. And it's got 2 hits here and here. So I don't know why that's the way it is. Let's use the standing light kick. Of course, all these hit deaths have to be changed in the end to, you know, alter and be different and everything like that. This is going to be an air special attack. 8,000? No. This is going to be, what's this going to be? 8,005, that's what it's going to be. Okay, now let's go back to this. 1585, 63. So this would be 85. Copy and paste. 63. Okay, so an air special attack, medium. So the first hit is on animation element 3 and then 4. So 2 hits, 2 hit deaths. 4. Okay. Do I want to knock him down? Yes, why not? On both of them actually, just because, well, let's see. This is a fancy little thing I learned recently in the past couple of years. Fall. If you want them to fall, you set it to 1. If you don't want them to fall, you set it to 0. How do you make it a smart move? You use an if-else code or a condition code. Let's do condition. Enemy, this is advanced. State type equals A. If they're in the air, yes, knock them down. If they're not in the air, no, don't knock them down. So now with the condition code, Mugen's gonna check. Is the enemy in the air? Yes, then knock them down. If they're not in the air, no, then don't knock them down. So we're gonna test. Okay, that's the second hit. Perfect. So first hit, he's not in the air, so he's not falling. Second hit, he falls. Now try he jumps. First hit, oh, he's falling. Second hit misses, of course. There you go. If you also notice, the effect pauses as it hits. It continues and pauses again. Hadouken! Kick. Very nice, huh? Simple little things like this. Now, if you wanted to make him bounce into the air, that's a whole different thing, and that's not something, well, you could kind of do it with a hit def, but it's not the result you'd actually want. If you want to combo into a ground bounce or something, that's like a tutorial on its own. But I digress. Okay, I wasted a lot of time doing just these 2 supers, but I kind of wanted to make sure it's in depth and it makes sense. Moving on to his last move, which is the shoulder charge, which is a very bizarre move to me. So apparently this frame can hurt you. I just played the game, so I know. This frame can hurt you, and then this frame can hurt you, and then this is like recovery frames right here. So it's like pow, but it goes so fast that you have to be close for this to hit you. And then this flies across the screen. Alright, so this is 13. So okay, so let's make those states. X and Y. Oh, you know, it's funny. I actually didn't even do the heavy version of this, so luckily these things are so repetitive that I can literally copy and paste it. Once you do it right, multiple versions of the attack. It's as simple as copy paste and change some values, because that's all it really is when you think about it. So let's do this quickly. Case sensitive. Oh god. Is it A and B I have? It should be X and Y. No, okay. Y. Mark here on the map. Okay, it's up here, so he's higher up. So one's for low, one's for high. Okay, the difference in the kick specials will be essentially more animation. So I need to take this end skin off. Okay. Same thing, special 2, blah blah blah. Put this back to 8 ticks, put this back to 8 ticks because he's longer in the air. Copy the name over. Copy all the effects things. Make another sprite. Animation, I mean. Effect. Paste. 0, 1. Okay, make this 2 more. Make this to 2 more as well. Okay. Boom. Okay, so now it's going to be 12:01 and 12:11. So 12:01, 12:11. Okay. It'll work the exact same way. Yeah, it'll work the exact same way. Except I need to decrease this so he comes down sooner. Okay, good. That's much better. Much better. Okay, good. Alright, so now to the forward attacks. I'm going to copy this one again because this is the simplest one. Paste it here. This is going to be forward X 13, 13, 13, no helper. 13, okay. So it's charge forward. So it literally goes to this, doesn't move, and then it goes to that. So I think animation number 3 is when I'm going to start him moving forward. So everything stays the same, except physics. No physics. Okay, so now we use the file set. Animation number 3. This is going to be, it's crazy, but it's a high speed move for whatever reason. Okay, he's going to move fast and forward, and then 19. Okay, so I'm going to slow him down with a Velmo code. Time greater than 19. I'm going to slow him down with 0.8, which is a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a dividend. I think it's a dividend. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. It's basically going to cut 6 in 1/8 of 6, which is like, I don't even know, 5.8, and then cut that by 0.8. Yeah. This looks weird because it is weird. Even I'm not sure what kind of move this is. I know though this 2 frames have to be like super fast. Yeah, those two have to be super fast. He literally whizzes across the screen in a ridiculous fashion. And then he slows down. This slowdown is actually pretty good. Okay. I will leave that to what it is. Hit def, hit def, hit def, hit def. Okay, this is a knockdown move, so I'm gonna steal this one here. I'm gonna steal this and use this. Luckily, it's a 2-hit move, but both moves will knock down. But what I'm gonna do is make frame 2 here not knock down. 2, 4, perfect. So very similar to the kick with the multiple hit defs. Very, very similar in fact. It's the same thing, except standing, super air, super attack. Yeah, super attack. Okay. Good, good. Okay, let me do the hit spark alignments. Shoulder move, so 53. Head move, 45. 53, 45. Now, because this is a heavier special move, I'm going to use 8006, the legendary number I haven't used yet. Although I should be using it. Yes. Oh god, it's huge. Okay, so this is going to be 10. Also going to be 10. Okay, maybe 10 is too much. Nope, 10 might be right actually. Damn, 20 is looking good now. You know what? It's the way my hitboxes are. Yeah, it looks good here, but when he's moving so fast, it throws off the way things look sometimes. But in any case, I mean, that is how that move is. It's strange, but that's the move, so I'm gonna copy and paste it. I'm sorry this time I didn't get the supers, but the next video is gonna be supers. 15, same thing, everything. Number's gonna be like 12. I kid you not, it's gonna be like 12. It's such a ridiculously fast move. You end up from one side of the screen to the next. That's about right. Yeah, that is actually terrifyingly right. Alrighty. Oh, one thing I might want to mention. If you notice, you can kind of... Wait, can I spam it? You can kind of spam your energy blast. And, hold on. Okay, you can spam your energy blast, and to stop that, you would have to use the helper ID as a trigger. So, helper ID is 1010, and then 1015. So, going here into the energy thing, and at the trigger all equals num helper 1010 is not equal to is equal to 0. So if there's none existing, it'll make you use it. Same for this one. This will be 1015. So this way I can't do key blast, energy blast after energy blast after energy blast. This limits it. See, so until the one's over, this one won't come out. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. He's comboing kind of strangely. Oh, you know why? Because I left Kung Fu Man combo system in him. That's why. Alright, so we will do this eventually. I'll give him a very basic combo system. See, this is all here. It's nice. But I'm gonna make him super bare bones. I know I'm taking a step backwards when I do this, but it'll be worth it. Trust me, I'm a professional. Okay, good. Kung Fu throw, I'll work on that eventually. I hate those things. But everything else is here. So okay, so all your special attacks are all done, see? You have your energy blast, your fast energy blast, your bicycle kick or wheel kick, your heavy wheel kick, which is higher in the air. Yes, and the effect added to it to look nice. Then you have your shoulder charge, which has ridiculous range, unhumanly possible. I know you think that's strange, it's actually like this in the game, I swear to God. And yeah, that's all his special attacks. So next video is going to be hyper attacks. And I'll try to do some cleaning up either before or after that, so he can see him a little more better, and I'll go over it, of course. But yeah, hyper attacks is next. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.